everyone. Today I want to talk to you a bit about paragraphs and how to go from pre-writing to writing a strong paragraph. So you've started with pre-writing for your first essay and you have submitted those and I've given you some feedback on them. You are now going to segue into writing your first draft. And part of writing that is building strong paragraphs. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what that means. So first things first, some definitions out of the way. Thesis statement is the main argument, the main point you're trying to make with your essay. It is usually found in your introductory paragraph at the very end. It is the content, the topic you're writing about, plus your stance on it. So for instance, it might be happiness is good relationship with others and accomplishing hard things. So those would indicate to your reader that your topic is on happiness and your 2 points are relationships and hard things. In addition to a thesis statement, which you only have one of in your essay, you have topic sentences. And they are the mini thesis, if you will, of each paragraph in your essay, each body paragraph. So for each essay that you write, you only have one thesis statement, again in your intro, towards the end of your intro, and you'll have multiple topic sentences depending on how many body paragraphs you have. And a well-written, well-structured piece of writing usually has the topic sentence as the first sentence of a new paragraph. And that is how you kind of know what's to come in the paragraph. Remember that all the paragraphs that you write are meant to back up and support your thesis statement. And your thesis steers everything within your essay. So a paragraph is a series of sentences that supports one main point or one main idea. So often when we have writing that is a little bit confusing, it's because it tries to cover too many topics, too many main points in one paragraph. So you want to just stick with one. Good paragraphs have the following: unity, development, organization, coherence, style, and sentence skills. I'm going to talk a little bit about each of those. So again, the paragraph focuses on one main idea and develops that using examples or evidence. And you want to make sure that you stay with the one main idea. So you might have one body paragraph that solely deals with how happiness for you means having strong relationships with other people. And you wouldn't then want to introduce ideas about overcoming obstacles. In this example, which you can pause to read, this is an example of a paragraph that's, number one, very short, and number two, not unified. It tends to go in 3 different directions. While all 3 sentences touch on the same topic, they're not related, and so it would be better to separate them out into different body paragraphs. So you have to stick with the one main point in each paragraph. You also need to provide evidence, which means you are providing things like facts, stories, examples, anecdotes, statistics. For this essay, you're probably not doing a ton of research. You're basing it more on your own personal experiences or personal philosophies. So it will be more anecdotal examples, stories. And these help to prove your point to the reader. They help support your thesis. And so every good paragraph needs plentiful support in it in order to convince the reader of your point of view. I have an example here of how cats are better than dogs. It's an argument, and I give you reasons, but I don't give you evidence. And as a critical reader or listener, this should not be enough evidence for you. You want to know more. And so I won't linger long on this. Again, you can pause your video here, but read through this. It's better. It's got more evidence in it, but it doesn't necessarily mean I've convinced you, but I've at least provided more of a case for my point of view for you to consider. So you have one main point, it sticks to that one main point, you have plentiful evidence, you have it structured well. So you think of a couple different stories or examples that you can use, and instead of just kind of laying them all out and letting the reader figure out the order, you have to guide the reader or readers, and you do that by using things like transition phrases and words. So first of all, my relationships with my family are one of the most important type of relationships that give me happiness. For example, my relationship with my mother is one that I value, and so then you provide examples. So they indicate to your readers signposts of where the essay is going. They can provide previews. They can revisit or re-summarize what has been said before. They can connect ideas. They are there to serve as signs to your reader. They help everything go together. Here's the same paragraph that I wrote before, but I've taken all the transitions out. You get the gist of it, you understand it, but it's not as smooth, it's not as coherent. So those transitions help your reader. There are a couple different paragraphs that have special functions. Those are the intro and conclusion. They don't necessarily follow the same rules as your body paragraphs, where you have everything unified. Remember, your intro gets our attention. It tells us what the topic is. It previews your thesis and your main points. It sets the tone. Is this a humorous piece? Is it a serious piece? And it is something that helps your reader want to read the rest of your paper. Similarly, your conclusion restates your thesis. It summarizes your main points, and it leaves us with a feeling of finality, that everything has been tied together neatly and we feel like we're not wanting more. There is not necessarily a hard and fast rule, except that when you switch to a new topic, you want to go into a new paragraph. The other thing is that if your paragraph gets really long, so let's say it's over a page, you have to think about your reader's poor eyes and breaking up your paragraphs to give a little break, some white space on the page. And so I'd say if you're getting to a paragraph that is about a page long, you want to begin to think about how you can either cut some of it down or where you can start a new paragraph. I developed a system called Paragraph Math that might help if you're a person who is very linear, logical, likes things structured, and has a hard time knowing when a paragraph should stop and start. This can be helpful. And essentially this means you have a topic sentence. So again, if I chose to write about how happiness is good relationships, I'd have 3 main points. So I might talk about friends, I might talk about families, I might talk about coworkers. And then for each of those 3 main points, I'd have 2 sentences of support or evidence to help flesh them out and help make my point clearer to my reader. And then I have a concluding sentence that, again, summarizes what the paragraph's about. So that equates to about roughly 11 sentences. And that's a good foundation for building a strong, well-supported paragraph. And so if you're asked to write a response in another class where they tell you to prove your point, maybe bringing in outside sources or research, this is a really nice structure to build a paragraph around. It doesn't work as well for more creative kind of narrative essays, but it does work really well for more research-based essays. And this thesis statement checklist, again, remember your thesis is the topic plus your stance on it. It's in your intro paragraph, usually at the end of it. It tells your reader what your topic is. It should be a single declarative sentence, maybe 2, but usually 1. It gives some background. You've built the background up in your intro, and you've avoided kind of squishy language like kind of or sort of. You want it to be an assertion, and you want it to be something that is arguable. So that helps launch your reader into the discussion and helps them determine, okay, am I going to go into this essay agreeing, or do I need you to convince me of your point of view through the examples that you use in your essay? So in class, I had students start writing some body paragraphs, and I handed out, this paragraph checklist, which once you've written a body paragraph, you can apply to yourself and see how you're doing. So you go through and you say, okay, the body paragraph that I just wrote for my essay, does it focus on only one main idea? Do I have a couple of supporting details? Do I have plentiful and specific evidence? Is it organized and does it have transitions? Am I maintaining a consistent point of view, which means I'm speaking from my own personal point of view, I, me, my, or I'm speaking about they, them? And it's got specific diction or word choice. It avoids a lot of slang, and it has sentences that are varied. They don't all sound the same. So then you can kind of total up how you're doing and see if you need to keep working. Obviously, you can do this for all the body paragraphs in your essay, but it's a nice way to see if you're on the right track for writing your body paragraphs as you begin to write your first draft. So that's a short overview on paragraphs, and I will post both of these on Blackboard for your review. Thanks.